So at this time, we have a young man who's coming up to do a spoken word, and the name of the spoken word is Limerence. So can we put our fingers together and welcome him?
Good night, y'all. All right, so the name of this piece is called Limerence, right? And I'm kind of sure that a lot of people are not familiar with that too. So Limerence is ultimately just being madly in love with something or someone. And like, that's what this poem is about. So it's just like being so obsessed with someone and you're just crazy in love with them. So that's ultimately what this poem is about. So I really hope you all catch what I'm saying. And yeah, Limerence. Humanity, humanity. The sons and daughters of Adam and Eve who are naturally enslaved to vanity and pleasure and self and sex and loads of money. What is it that is so wrong with us that we have to be completely born again and given a new heart and renew our minds and have our eyes plucked out daily and replaced with new ones that actually see properly? What is it? Why we're called blind and wretched and dead? Is it true that a small, sly, sneaky speaking serpent got us into all this mess? And if so, what kind of venom or poison did he give that we so eagerly had to ingest? And I think I see it now. To whatever extent, I think I've figured it out. As simple and as anticlimactic as this will sound, we became well diggers. We became well diggers in that we left the only fountain of pinnacle satisfaction and delight to run miles away to find shovels and start erecting our own pigsties, humans. Elohim went from being our everything to becoming second and third and fourth and fifth and even nothing to us, humans. Have you ever taken notice of God's language in Jeremiah 2? The language of a jealous husband watching his wife willfully commit adultery with multiple men right in front of him with a smile. I can't think of a more clear and vivid picture of the human condition, a depiction of non-Christians and Christians alike. Oh, and it's right that every religion and belief system knows that there's definitely something wrong with us. But what is it? And what can account for it? What can account for countless consciences in countless continents that are counting on counseling, that's constantly conjuring a cumbersome of counterfeit comments and compliments, that are consciously incompetent and causing the concept of cosmic consequence to seem lacking common sense or even condescending? What can account for the countenance of the congregation to seem either unconfident or condescending, even though our most common comment is to say it's common sense to comprehend Christ's accomplishment, and we still constantly come across as condescending? What can account for the commonness of godlessness and ungodliness is that we don't come to him in confidence, and that's just a clue to where the core of the real problem is, trust me. And it's really funny that when we actually start seeing this core problem, that the narrowness of the way that leads to life becomes so much more of a reality to you. Abstract truths about the gospel become so experiential, because in seeing this core problem, you start running to the core solution, Emmanuel. And my friends, the problem isn't that the technology isn't sophisticated enough, or that the youth groups aren't cool enough, or that the music isn't contemporary enough. No, but simply that the modern portrait of Jesus isn't compelling enough to cause the hearts of women and men to melt and fall madly in love with him. So ultimately, the problem with the human condition isn't anything but us, and us loving us, and us loving us more than us loving Jesus. So the problem with us is that we're by nature, we're enslaved to having all our passions to be totally and completely directed to everything and anything that gives us instant pleasure. No wonder we can easily and eagerly enjoy food and friends and money and sex way more than the one who created them to be enjoyed fullest in its proper context. Who or what gets us out of this? Close friends, they're in the same predicament. Media, they are legitimately one of the largest contributors to the predicament. Governments, broken rulers taking broken measures. And the reality is that we're all broken. The reality is that we're all broken. The difference is God's children have received an unbroken treasure, and his name is Yeshua. And I'm firmly persuaded and fully convinced that in receiving him, this perfect treasure, that Christians have been granted at minimum 2 exceedingly unique and large privileges. Number one, to intimately know a freedom-giving truth. And number two, as a result of intimately knowing that freedom-giving truth, to serve joyfully, serve a massive master who's masterfully unmasking matters that'll massacre the masses unless they're unmasked, like masturbation and mismanagement of major mandates and misguided men messaging messy midnight messages to their marriage murdering mistresses while their wives sleep right next to them. A majestic Messiah who came to redeem brainwashed brothers that would have barely behold this most beautiful bridegroom that was born in Bethlehem, to bring his badly broken and bruised bride back by buying her butt back by his blood. Bruh, this Jesus is worthy of our gaze, and when we don't look to him and at him, there's no wonder why everything else and anything else becomes deeply and dangerously more attractive to us. But please understand what I'm trying to say. What I see this God do to restore us back to that state of righteousness, i.e. to be right with him. He died so we could live, became poor so we'd be rich toward him. He was cut off and cast out so we'd be brought in. He was shaken so we'd be still. He was bound so we'd be freed. He descended so we could ascend. He became one of us so we could become one of his. He revealed himself to be a fountain so that the thirsty could come and drink. He became so we can have strength. He revealed his Father so that we could become his kids. God in human skin experienced cosmic loss so that we could be saved. How did Emmanuel define eternal life? Is it not to know him? And this knowing, like Paul said, goes way beyond head knowledge. So come to this homeless rabbi. Come to this Middle Eastern carpenter. Run to this unequally great Prince of Peace. And along with me, I guess our new prayer should be, Father, grant us deliverance from having limerence toward anything else other than your living Son. Help us to renew our minds and redeem the time as you reveal the Christ. That your holy fire would burn inside us, purify us, and give us a burning desire for Christocentric limerence.
Can we put our hands together one more time for that piece? That was some really, really deep stuff. Limerence, just being crazy in love with Jesus.